All right, welcome back to the Wholesome Lending Group podcast. My name is Austin.
Susie.
Okay, in this video, we're talking about how to finance investment properties with no income docs. Contrary to popular belief, maybe you're brand new to real estate and you're unaware that you can acquire income, you can acquire rental properties or for your portfolio, and you don't have to show proof of income to qualify for the loans on these properties. Traditional mortgages, also known as QM, so qualified mortgages, normally, like if you're going for a Freddie Mac or FHA type of loan product, you would need to use income verification, right? Great credit score. They're very hard to qualify. But if you're trying to get in the game of real estate investing, and qualifying for real estate is not that hard. Qualifying for loan products so you can acquire real estate is not that hard. We're going to talk about one of our favorite products that don't require any no income verification, which would be debt service coverage ratio loans, also known as DSCR loans.
DSCR, that's right.
Yeah. So so let's say you have an investor, they come to you, they go, "Hey, Susie, I have this deal. How do I know if I qualify? What does that look like? How is it even possible for me to get a loan for this property to add to my portfolio without any income verification?"
Yeah. So like you mentioned before, it's not a traditional mortgage, right? So doesn't fit in the box of, qualified mortgage. So they're not going to look at your W-2s. They're not going to ask for your personal taxes. They don't really care where you work. Like none of those traditional things that normally you would get asked for on like a primary home. Yeah. They don't do that because it's an investment property and it's going to go under your LLC. Yeah. Right. So essentially all that they want to see is that this property is going to be cash flowing. Yeah. Right. And so meaning, you're going to rent it out for easy numbers. You're going to rent it out for $1,000. Yep. But this loan that the bank is going to give you is only going to cost you $500 a month. Mm-hmm. You have a deal, right? Yes. Because you have that $500 in excess that obviously you could keep in your pockets or use for renovation, whatever you need to do. And so essentially there are no income requirements. However, don't get that confused with, down payment or showing that you have money in the bank, right? Because the bank wants to make sure that, okay, we're going to give you this loan, but can you actually pay us back? Like, do you actually have some money in the account to be able to put down a 20% down payment? Yeah. And, or do you still have money left over once you get the loan and you put down the 20%? Are you going to be at zero or do you still have like 10, 15K in the bank? So yes, you do have to show that you have income in your bank account, but you don't have to show like paper wise W-2 and taxes stuff.
Yeah. It's extremely important that, in the DSCR acronym, right? The ratio part, making sure that the debt service coverage can cover the amount, the debt service can cover the amount, like you said. So if your ratio is 1.1 or higher, you have a great ratio, which means, like you said, it's the income I'm bringing in on the property well qualifies for the expenses. Lenders are like, okay, you got a great deal in your hands. But that doesn't mean just because you don't have to verify your income doesn't mean it doesn't take money to get into real estate. Yeah. Right. Now, the recommendation I would have is, if you still want to start, like there are 100% ways around this, right? And we'll talk about this coming up, right? When we talk about the BRR method, but you still are going to need to have some type of funds, essentially. So save up, things like that. But what I'd recommend is if you're brand new to real estate, if you're like, I'm trying to get in, like you're still going to need to have some money, but I would just start in a market that you can afford, right? Real estate 100% looks overwhelming, especially if you're starting in markets where the barrier to entry is extremely high. Like for us, we live in Southern California. Fixing and flipping in Southern California is not for the weak. No. Because Southern California, the average medium home price is $900,000. Yeah. And that's for a bucket. And you're going to need to put 120 into it. You're going to need to hold it, pay those, like that. You're talking about 200,000. Like that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of, this isn't for starting off. This is for seasoned investors who have substantial capital.
Yeah. And you have access to private money, right? So I would go the different direction, which would be go to a market which is easier to afford. The medium home price is between 100,000 and 300,000. That barrier to entry is a little bit easier. It's easier to save up some money to get there, or also fix your credit. Go for some alternative lines of funding like a 0% business credit card, right? You can get a 0% APR card for 12 to 18 months, and that's maybe you get a $20,000 limit, $30,000 limit. You can put that money down, and then you can get into the game. And so, it depends on where you're at, what you're looking at. But for the purposes of why we made this video, no, you don't need to have any income verification. They're not looking at your W-2s or your day job. If you're hustling and you got money on the side, you're good. As long as you can show it by bank statements or wherever your money is, you can prove it's been there for at least 30 days. I have a statement for it.
Yeah, exactly. So to kind of piggyback on what you were saying on the 0% business cards, let's say you're in a position where you only have like, I don't know, $5,000, right? But you want to get into real estate. Maybe you're a new investor, or maybe your capital's tied up in another property that you're currently working on. You can still do this without any money right now if you apply that 0% business strategy that we also teach. So let's say we go to Chase and we're able to get you $50,000 at 0%. We also help you liquidate, right? We teach you how to get that cash out of the card, so that way you're not paying like 22% at the ATM if you try to take that cash, right? So we help you liquidate. Now you can put that money into your business bank account, and then that's going to be suffice to the lender. Hey, look, I have money in my bank account to put down for the down payment and still have reserves after the deal closes, not just like $0 in the bank, right? And I've confirmed this with multiple lenders across the board, and they do allow this. They do allow you to, grab money from your business card, put it in your business account, and use that. It's not frowned upon, and it is totally possible.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely plays and hacks if you're an investor trying to get into the game. And so, so just so you're aware, or just to kind of recap, you don't need to verify income, but you still do need to have some money to pay to play. 100%, I recommend either save the money, continue to grind, put it away, borrow it from a friend or family member that you trust, or leverage business credit to get access to this money for 0% for 12 to 18 months, and it doesn't report to your personal credit. Win. And we've worked with, at this point I lost track of how many real estate investors we work with, that we've walked them through how to do this strategy. And so on this channel, you might not be unaware, you can probably see at the bottom, this channel is connected with our other one. We have another channel called Wholesome Financials, where we strictly talk about business credit, business funding, alternative lines of funding, things like that. But we built this channel out to dive more into the real estate side, because that's the direction that we're going into. But this is something that's extremely helpful for real estate investors. So no income verification needed, but you are still going to need to have some money to get into the game. Yeah. And so that's the easiest way that we've seen to finance your investment property. You need to bring some money to the table, at least for these DSCR loans. You still need to put 20% down or something like that on the property you're going for. But it's easier to qualify, and the turnaround time is faster. And so I'd recommend DSCR loan if you're trying to get a rental property and finance that. That's the best way to do it without having to show any of your personal docs or things like that.
And I think to add to that also, it won't report your personal credit because it's going to be under the LLC.
Yes, that's another good point. Yeah, you're buying the house under the LLC, not your personal.
So that means that your debt to income ratio won't go up, right? So like, let's say you're buying a primary property and you do need to show income. You do need to show taxes and stuff like that. Now that debt that you got on the DSCR loan is not going to show on your personal, which means that it's not going to put a damp on your debt to income ratio. So it's going to be easier for you to keep qualifying for things on your personal credit if all that, investment stuff is strictly on the LLC.
Yeah, 100%. If you've used any other products outside of DSCR loans that don't require this, income verification for your properties, put in the description below. Join in the conversation. We love when people participate, share their experience. If you're a seasoned investor and you got some game you want to drop it in the description. We'd love to hear it, respond to it, maybe even comment on it in another video. And so we appreciate it, and hopefully this has been helpful. And if you are a brand new investor, or if you're an investor that has some properties and you're looking for just better rates, you're looking for better products for your rentals, shoot us email, or go ahead and click the form at the bottom of the video and submit your deal so that we can run it by the lenders that we trust and walk you through the process start to finish. We'll hold your hand and make sure you're fully aware of how this goes so you can get your deal funded. Half the battle is finding the deal. The other half is getting the deal closed. And so we work with people hand in hand on how to get the deal closed once you have it. And so hopefully that's something that we can do with you. And just all you got to do is, like I mentioned, hit the link below or shoot us an email at info@wholesomelendinggroup.com. And we love to work with you there. And so with that said, that kind of wraps up the finance part of this video. One thing I do want to, so now we're just kind of going to go to just open questions right now, just between Susie and I. If you're brand new to this channel, we're husband and wife. We have a big, beautiful family. You'll see them on this channel at some point in the thumbnail or in the video. And we're also investors. We're also in real estate. My wife, she's a mortgage loan originator, and we are funding experts for real estate investors in different areas of real estate, right? And so that's why we do. That's why we talk about what we talk about. But with that said, just general question right now regarding real estate. Is there a particular type of real estate vehicle or investment that you have your eye on, that you're interested in either learning more or getting into? Or is there a particular market that you want to dive in? Or I'll even throw a third turn question. Do you have any experience with, what's been your experience with particular markets you've worked with clients in, things that you've seen or learned, or whatever the case may be, right? Because I know we've done stuff in Florida, whatever, all over the place, Indiana, but feel free to pick any of those that you resonate with.
I think I've always kind of been intrigued with the Section 8, kind of market. Just kind of seeing it all over, and I in theory I understand how it works. You get all these properties and you make guaranteed income, from the government every single month. It's never going away. So it feels and sounds like a safe haven in a way, secure, But what also kind of scares me is the type of tenants and them destroying your property. Tenants, And so, I mean, not to say that you can't find someone that's going to be responsible and take care of your property like your own, but more often than not, lower income families, for whatever reason, people have issues renting to them, whether they break your property or whatnot. So that kind of scares me in a way. And so, but again, that's something that's always kind of intrigued me. And I think the barrier to entry is low as far as money to put up, right? Yeah. You can buy these properties for $50K in Ohio or something, or $20K. Yeah. So, I mean, they're not much, so they're enticing, but yeah, I want to learn more. How about yourself?
For me, it started off as flipping, but I'm really interested in wholesaling. I think learning how to find off-market pocket deals or just heavily discounted deals, distressed properties, I think is an invaluable skill. Yeah. And so I want to get more into wholesaling, going to a bunch of different events with a lot of great wholesale brokerages here in SoCal. And so I'm interested in eventually jumping in if that's what, the Most High has planned. I'm not sure, but it's just extremely, extremely interesting. So it's something I'm constantly reading about. And ultimately, if you can find your own deals, which is time consuming in and of itself, right? If you're trying to scale as a flipper, having a good wholesaler is helpful. Unless you build a whole operation, you get somebody. But it's being able to find that eventually, if you have that, if you understand how to do that, then that, okay, I can flip in that market. Yeah. Because you eventually graduate to even more profit than just the assignment fees. And so some I'm interested in. Haven't pulled the trigger yet. Haven't completely jumped in. It's still a lot of learning going on, but that is something that I do eventually want to get into 100%.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in for this video. If you watched this far, you might as well like and subscribe and leave a comment in the description. Let me know, just anything, right? If you rock with us, you've been following us, we'd love to hear from you and connect with you. But outside of that, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.